From country crooner to symphony soloist, she's done it all with grace, style, and truth. Hi, I'm Ernie Manouse. Coming up on Interviews, our conversation with K.D. Lang. How important is truth to you as an artist?
Truth is pretty much everything. It makes your job easier, actually. When a truth is kind of like catching a good wave. It's, you know, when you're open and you get your mind out of the way and you let the natural flow of beingness happen, it's so much easier. So truth is everything. And as an artist, I think as a human being in general, it's absolute.
Is there a difference in the way you present honesty when you're recording to when you're doing something live?
Yeah, it's a different animal. You know, in the studio, I was actually just thinking about this today. In the studio, you know, I sit generally, so I'm much stiller, and I'm much more still, and I'm really, you know, visualizing the story of the lyrics and the metaphors and the subtext and all that. When I'm performing live, all that work hopefully is done, and that I have integrated the story and the integrity of the song so deeply at that point that I just open up and get out of the way. But then there's this extra, you know, like huge room and full of people that you have to project to. So yeah, it's a different thing. So this song takes on a different life live than in the studio.
How do you keep then from it just becoming rote, that you just go through the song if you've already done that work? Because when I see you perform, I get the feeling you are thinking about it, you're working it, you're living the song at the moment.
Well, I was last night because it was the first show. But no, I try to live the song. I try to actually like put myself in the story rather than think about this would be, you know, like thinking about the ornamentation or the, you know, I'm trying to listen to the musicians. I'm trying to listen to the communication going on between the musicians, and I'm trying to think of the story. But in terms of like controlling my voice or like, you know, thinking of the voice as something I can manipulate and control, I try to eliminate that.
Yeah. Do you treat your voice as an instrument? Is it something that you work at, or is it a gift that you have that's a natural ability?
It's both, but it's even more than that. The voice is... The voice is a living, breathing specimen. You know, it is completely and utterly at the mercy of its environment. Like today, it's very moist, so that's good. But I didn't sleep last night, so that's bad. And it depends on what you eat. It depends on how much you stretch. It depends on whether you got a good phone call or a bad phone call. I mean, it's so vulnerable and so alive and so much its own thing that all you can do is just kind of protect it and nurse it and watch it and understand it and give it space, but baby it at the same time. It's an incredible thing.
Have you had to give up a lot in your life, though, to take care of that voice? Has there been a trade-off there?
I would say that I'm pretty disciplined, and I have been for about 23 years when I first started to really focus on it. But in a way, I think it's been my saving grace because you know, I don't smoke and I drink occasionally, but you know, I'm been a vegetarian. I came out as a lesbian, and all these things really were to protect the voice. And so, in a way, I'm totally thankful to it.
Explain a little bit what you mean by came out as a lesbian to protect the voice.
Well, to be open and to be honest, rather than harboring a secret or protecting a lifestyle or like, you know, shutting myself off.
Okay. When you look back at the start of all of this, what was the thrill, the joy, the reason you wanted to go into this business?
It's not really even been a matter of choosing. It's just been my it's been what I am. I'm
Yeah.
just a singer. So it wasn't, to me, it's not this elusive thing to become famous, or it's just, people kind of hone in on what it is that they're good at, whether you're a mason or a nurse or a singer or a sports car racer. You do what you're good at, and I was lucky enough to discover that at a very early age. So I've been pretty focused on it for many, many years, my whole life, really.
Are you doing today what you always thought you would be doing?
Pardon?
Are you doing today what you thought you would be doing?
Right now, doing this interview?
Well, I'm sure this is what you were planning on doing your whole life. I mean, in general, career-wise.
Pretty close, yeah. Pretty close. I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. I'm happy with my level of fame, but that sounds so trite, but my level of notoriety. I'm so honored to be playing somewhere like Jones Hall and to be singing with symphonies and to be playing with the caliber of musicians that I'm playing with and to work with Tony Bennett. And yet, I don't sell a lot of records, so it's actually a really nice balance. It's a really nice balance.
Is there a way you gauge success for yourself? What is it you look at? Is it personal happiness and contentment, or is there anything else?
I look at, there's a lot of different things, but one of the major I can't think of the word, but anyway, when I play on stage with my musicians and we take chances and we're living on the edge and we like push each other, that to me is a success. That to me is, when you don't get tired, you don't get bored, you don't cheat yourself, because when you spend, how many days on the, like 3 months on the road, and you travel every day and you're sleeping in a different hotel and you have to get up and rehearse and then do the show, it's a really, really taxing physically. And if when you walk on that stage, you're cheating yourself, then it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
When you walk on stage, that's the gravity. That's the cohesiveness of your life. That's what makes it all work. So I would never cheat myself there.
But is that, looking at those moments and when that works, is that the success for you? Is that when it all comes together and you say, this is why I do it? Yeah.
But I think a part of it is also understanding failure and also understanding mistakes and also understanding, the disappointments, but being able to see that they're a part of your path and and you incorporate them and learn from them. That's success to me, because failures are just as important as successes, and so to incorporate them both and have a symbiotic relationship with failure and success, that's success.
Yeah. How do you decide where you're going next, what you're doing musically? Is it something that just is where it is, or is it something thought out?
Well, it is what it is until I start thinking about it. I really follow my instincts. I will get attracted to something. I'm kind of like a bee that's magnetized by a flower or something. I hear something someday somewhere walking down the street or in a car or something, and I'll go, wow. And then either I'll let it go or I'll get fixated on it, and then I'll start following it. And that, in that sense, I start to conceptualize and construct or visualize an idea that I have, and then have it come to fruition. Otherwise, I don't really know what's happening.
As an artist, are you free to follow those instincts, or do you have, especially when you've gotten to the level of success you have, do you have record companies and management and all of that questioning what you're doing and deciding, or do they stand back and say, hey, Katie wants to do this, let her do it?
I've been very, very lucky, because I've been completely categorizationable.
Whatever that word is.
I've been undefinable since the beginning. So I've really sort of just put up a warning flag right at the beginning, don't pigeonhole me. And people have really, thank goodness I've had a great record company all my life, and people have really, I've made lots of mistakes. I've done crazy things where it's just unmarketable. but it's something I have to do. It's like if Picasso paints a painting that he has to paint it in order to get to the next thing. It's those are really, really important stepping stones. So I've been very lucky.
When you first started off in this country and you were a country artist, the reaction of Nashville wasn't incredibly embracing, as I understand it. Was that something that you hungered for, though? Did you want that acceptance, or didn't that matter to you?
It didn't matter. I knew that I wasn't going to be accepted, and in fact, acceptance wasn't what I was interested in. I was interested in the music. I was interested in rattling the cages. I was interested in making them see that because at that time, country music was taking itself a bit serious. It's loosened up a lot since then, but it was in a really kind of serious period. And the people that I was inspired by were Minnie Pearl and Cousin Jody and June Carter and like crazy, funny people, self-defacing people. And that's how I approach country. And I never expected to be accepted by them. In fact, if I was, I would have run for the hills.
Well, are you a troublemaker? Do you like to stir things up?
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm a rebel, but I think because I'm a bit too passive to be a rebel. I'm not. I don't think I'm an angry person. I think I just like to push the envelopes, or I love not even push the envelope so much, but I love framing things in contradiction, because I think then you see something in its true essence. Like when you listen to NPR, for example, and it's eclectic programming, and they play Frank Zappa next to Shostakovich, then you hear something beautiful in both of those things, because you're not listening to an hour-long program of classical music. And I think that's really, really important.
Do you use that philosophy throughout everything you do in life?
I think so, but maybe I'm more mundane than I'm aware of.
When you decided to come out, and I can understand that you understand who you are, and you know who you are, and you're surrounding the people around you know, and you know you're making this statement. Is there a moment, though, after you do it, after you do the interview, after you acknowledge that you're going to go ahead and do that you get the cold feet, that you think, what if? How is it going to be perceived? Or how do you move through that without the anxiety, I guess, or was there no anxiety for you?
No, I was uncertain at its outcome, but I think that, when you make a decision to do something fearless, you've already surrendered to the outcome. It doesn't matter. So I thought that it was more important to benefit society by coming out and doing the unexpected and coming out and just going, than it was to protect my career. That's kind of a selfish thing. So it's one of the best things I ever did, really.
What do you think you learned about people in general by the way you were received afterwards?
People are really, really open. They don't even know how open people don't even know how open they are. I just saw that Carson Daly on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy?
No, Carson Daly isn't.
Carson Daly's MTV. Yeah. Carson somebody, but anyway, the funny one that does the clothes. He was on Country Music Television Awards today, I saw. And that's amazing. Giving, some really straight country guy his award. And, that's a long way in 12 years.
Yeah. Does it ever bother you, though, that it overshadows the music? Or people think of you as the lesbian artist? Does that kind of stuff get in your way and bother you?
Well, I think that really is more enlightening on the person asking the question or making the statement, because I think it's in your view that's what I am. So I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
I got a little tired of it after Ingenue and after the Vanity Fair cover, although it was fantastic. At the same time, the attention was good. But after a while, the next, 5 years was quite tough.
When you take the gaps between albums, when you're taking that time, what are you doing in your own world?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Playing with my dogs, swimming, Actually, I work a lot for Tibetan Buddhism. So I do a lot of fundraising, and I do a lot of practice and stuff like that. And then I really kind of stay completely out of the music world, and then I get sort of tossed back in. Like yesterday, I got tossed back in, and here I am.
Now, when you keep saying yesterday you got tossed back in, you've started this tour with symphonies.
Yeah.
New, unique for you, something different. But working with the Tony Bennett stuff, is it similar in some way? Did that set you up to go on this path?
Yeah, the Tony Bennett record and the tour really opened my eyes to what I could do and what I kind of secretly wanted to do, which was sing in front of an audience that wants to hear singing and make beautiful music. And Tony's just been such an amazing teacher for me. Just like, I really can't believe how precious an opportunity it is to be given a teacher like that in your life. It's incredible. So, yeah, my direction now is a directly inspired by Tony.
Tell me a little bit about how the two of you came together.
In 1993, he did that MTV Unplugged deal.
Right.
And he asked me to sing on that, and we remained friends. We just recognized a kindred spirit in each other back then, and stayed in touch. And then I guess like 3 years ago, he asked me to open for him, and that was a big turning point because I went from usually I carried about 9 people on stage, 9 musicians, down to 3, down to a jazz trio, and that just opened up my world. I mean, just to have that much space as a singer and have that much flexibility within the band itself is just really liberating, and it just completely shifted my perspective. Plus, the making of Wonderful World was, we were sitting on stage with the band set up just like soundcheck and just recorded the record in 3 days. And I just realized that it's so crazy to spend 6-8 months on a record because music is so much about being in the moment and communicating and emoting, that when you put so much emphasis on the thought process of it, it just really is a disservice, I think.
Yeah. What did you learn about the craft from working with Tony Bennett?
Tony is the consummate professional on and off the stage, and he has it, and the most important thing about Tony is that he loves being an artist. He lives and breathes being an artist. He paints all day, sings all night, and does it all the next day. He does 300 shows out of the year, and he's 78 years old this year.
Amazing.
He is just such an incredible example of how, when you are celebrating life, that it just gives you tremendous momentum. And other than the fact that he's an amazing singer and an amazing entertainer, that is the most important thing that I learned from Tony.
Yeah. How do you approach the symphonies now, having worked with him? Is there something that you know about how to control that group? Because I would think you're one person in front of this huge world of musicians. Is there...
I just really am trying to just... they're extremely professional. They're way more accomplished than I am. So I think I'm just trying to just gently walk in there and sing my songs and respect them as much as possible, rather than try to, be the big diva. That's never good.
Well, you hear some artists will perform with a symphony, and they get lost in it because they're tied into following a path because the symphony is all orchestrated around them. Is it hard to be able to keep your own unique voice and to feel the freedom to emote as you want, to sing as you want, when you've got this many performers relying on you or going a very certain direction? Is that an issue?
I don't think so. I think it's just a matter of sticking to the arrangement. And then, because I've been honing in on what singing is anyway, to me, singing is emoting. Singing is, as we started this interview, being truthful. It's condensing and defining. It's not like going out and trying to, it's not. I just contradicted myself because I said earlier that it was about flexibility.
Right.
But when I'm singing, like I said, it's just like about kind of narrowing in down to the lyric and the melody and just feeling the truth of it and just letting it. So no, the symphony adds to that because of the incredible harmonic support that you have around you.
Yeah.
It just, you can shade your voice either which way or this way or that way, and it's incredibly, it just enriches everything.
Are you worried that when this tour is over, how you'll get that same thrill the next time you go out, the next project?
No, because I get that thrill singing with somebody who's a great guitar player. It's about communicating. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 120,000.
Yeah.
It's really about just being in the moment and communicating.
Talk to me a little bit about your relationship with the audience. I've heard you say things before about the audience and the give and the take between them. But how is that a real relationship when you're so isolated? I mean, you're this one person, I saw you last night and somebody yells something out and you pick it up and reply back, but is there a relationship growing there? What do you get from them at those moments?
Well, it's not my relationship. My whole deal is I'm just one person in a room of, well, I don't know what the capacity is here, but there's like 40 musicians on stage, and then my 5 guys, and a room full of people. I'm just one person. It's not my relationship to the audience. It's the relationship, the synergy in the house with everyone. I just happen to be standing in the center.
Yeah.
But I think that it's really about respecting each individual's experience and not overpowering that and not expecting them to love you and not expecting them not to love you, but just to let the moment be and have equanimity with each and every person, not as it's my show, you must like it, or I'm the singer, you're the audience. It's not. It's we're in a show. We're in a show together, and it's
If you couldn't sing anymore, if be it physical or there was no audience for you anymore, what would you want to do? How would you express all of your feelings and thoughts?
Honestly, I would probably go into a cave and start meditating. I would probably give it all up and just put my sights on my practice. But my creative drive, I'm not like one of these people that like has to create all the time. I don't write. I paint, but that's more like kind of a hobby. Mm-hmm. But I think just live my life and do my practice. I don't think I would like, go crazy and become a producer or something.
Are all producers crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All producers are crazy.
What do you want to do next? I know that you don't like to talk about where you're going next project-wise, and you're just starting something new now. But in your head, without saying maybe what it is, are you already thinking about the next step?
I'm really not. Right now, all I'm thinking about is pacing and improving on this show and getting through the summer. And then as soon as I'm done this tour, my record comes out. So then I'm going to be off promoting the record and doing more shows. I'm already booked till the end of March in Sydney at the Opera House. So right now, I'm myopic. I'm completely focused.
Well, I'm going to take off that focus a little bit and ask a little bit about the new record.
Okay.
So, Canadian songbook, basically.
Canadian songbook, yeah. Yahoo!
Anything you want to say about it?
Well, it's my blood.
Yeah.
It's again, it was coming off the influence of the Tony thing, and he did the Louis Armstrong thing with me, and he grew up in Astoria, Queens with Louis, and that was his heritage, and it started me thinking about my own heritage, and my heritage is Joni Mitchell and Leonard Cohen and Neil Young and Jane Siberry, and it's so ingrained and innate in me, these songs, that I can't believe that no one's actually done a Canadian songbook before, because it's such a deep treasure of great songs. And I find that there's, the reason I call the album Hymns of the 49th Parallel is there's the spiritual link to all of these songs. I find Canadian songwriters especially write songs that use nature very strongly, metaphorically, and for their imagery in the songwriting. And, I grew up in the Canadian prairies, which, was extremely vast and empty. And your spirituality does, the way I sing, the songs I choose, I know are directly integrated in my upbringing. So these songs are, to answer really long your question, these songs are my blood.
Well, at that point, all I have left to say is thank you for taking the time to sit down with us.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
A pleasure. Katie Lang. To order a transcript, call 866-652-3378 or send $6.95 to the address on your screen. Please include the name of the guest.